welcome everyone to our webinar today. You will hear that bell going off a couple of times, so I do apologise in advance for those of us just joining. Today we're going to be discussing the global TEFL industry, employment, CV, interview skills, all of that great stuff. The webinar is being recorded. If you want to keep your cameras off and keep muted, that's absolutely no problem at all. And if you're comfortable keeping them on, that's no problem either. Just so you're aware, we're going to record it to have it on demand for those who couldn't make it today. So I think we might start anyway and go ahead. So as I said, I'm joined today by my lovely colleague Jess, who is our partner specialist and our recruitment team advisor. If you've been looking for job advice or assistance with employment, Jess is your girl. We're going to be chatting a little bit about what is going to go on your CV, the do's and don'ts of an interview, going through the absolute do's and don'ts of an online teaching interview, or just for TEFL jobs in general, the importance of teaching practice and getting some experience behind you, and different schools and teaching abroad and that sort of thing. I'm just going to let these couple of people that have joined into the room, and I might pass you over to Jess, who's going to chat, about the process of writing a CV.
Yeah, I'll start away, will I, Sarah? Super. So guys, I'm just going to quickly run through the process of what to put on your CV. So when you're applying for a job, so number one, of course, is your basic information, as you normally would for a CV or a resume. So your contact information, your phone number, possibly your Skype ID if they're looking at doing an interview when you send in your application. Also email address, of course. Your location, where you're based at the moment, is important. And just note, if you're putting in your phone number, to also include your country code as well. And number two, guys, at the top, you'll have probably a little profile or a personal summary of your CV. So keep this quite concise and relevant to the school that you're applying for or the online company. For example, if you're applying to teach online with a company that only teaches young learners, you want to cater your CV for young learners, any experience you have in that area. Again, for education, you want to put in your most recent education first and then work your way down. Important to also include your TEFL certificate here and anything extra you might have done. Maybe if you did with us a TEFL course on young learners or on business English, you can pop that in as well. It'd be really good for your CV. We recommend putting your relevant experience first. So if you have any teaching experience, to highlight that at the top, and then any other experience after. If you don't have any teaching experience, you can include, for instance, babysitting, childminding, maybe you did some sports coaching or training. That's also quite appealing. Of course, goes without saying, keep your CV to 2 pages maximum. It's not a biography, so you want to keep it to 2 pages. And if you can, to save it as a PDF for your employer as well. And finally then, try and write a cover letter. This gives a really great impression, even if they don't ask for it. Just about your personality, and maybe your teaching experience, what qualities you have that they would like, just a chance for you to stand out, really. Also super important to research the company you're applying for, so do your homework beforehand. They might ask you to do a little video, or you can prepare one in advance, just an introduction video, maybe 30 seconds or a minute, just to outline your background, if you have any teaching experience, and why you want to work for them or why you want to work in that specific country. So that's kind of the tips we have for CVs. I'll just pass you back to Sarah, talk about interviews.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know Emmett just asked there in comments just about potentially seeing a sample CV and kind of getting, I suppose, something to go off of. So definitely, guys, if you need any help in that regard, I will go through some of the supports later on that, here at the TEFL Institute that we can provide to you. Jess is available for job assistance and that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
And we'll be able to reach out and we can help with that. Absolutely. So yeah, I'm going to just chat to you, I suppose, about the actual TEFL interview, what you can expect, and I suppose various maybe questions that may come up. Does anyone here kind of have any experience in interviews in any industry? Have you kind of gone for employment in TEFL before? If you want to pop in just a quick comment. Doesn't seem like it just yet, but hopefully once you all have your TEFL certificates and you get your qualification, you'll be able to start this and embark on this kind of side of the journey. So these are kind of the do's and the don'ts of online teaching job interviews, and I suppose TEFL job interviews in general. I suppose you can come across various elements to an interview, based on maybe cultural differences, like if you're going for a job, for example, in Thailand or South Korea versus Europe, even in a local language school, your mannerisms and even language that you'll use will be slightly different based on the kind of environment, but you can definitely gauge that once, you're on the call, and also from your research on the particular company as well. This advice, about interviews generally does stand across most industries as well. You need to prepare for potential questions. It's very easy for an interviewer to notice someone who hasn't prepared versus another candidate who has. Google typical questions for a teaching interview. Some examples might be, tell us about yourself. Why are you interested in becoming a TEFL teacher with us? What do you know about our company is a huge question that is often asked. What's your teaching philosophy? Do you have any particular tools that you will use? Make yourself stand out, show that you have some sort of background knowledge that you've gained from your TEFL qualification. What do you enjoy most about teaching English as a foreign language, or what do you think you will enjoy in regards to teaching? What skills do you have that will make you a good TEFL teacher? This one is hugely important. You want to show that you're organized. You'll want to demonstrate confidence, good communication skills, being able to use body language in a way that's demonstrative to your students as well. Facial expressions is a huge element of TEFL teaching as well. And knowing, I suppose, the benefits of online teaching versus maybe some downfalls, and how you could combat those is hugely important. Another element of interviews can also be a demo lesson. So I know Jess kind of touched on that a second ago. Have a trial lesson prepared. Now, there are various YouTube videos if you want to Google them. We also have blogs on this as well. So definitely take a look at those. A demo lesson essentially is a taster to what a company or a language school can expect from you. Practice it. It could be a presentation, or, even showing yourself using a whiteboard, or anything really that will demonstrate your teaching style. And this generally may not be in your first interview where they're just trying to get to know you, but if there is a secondary or a third interview, they'll let you know. You will be prepared in advance, but this is definitely something to keep in mind. And if you do have any questions on the demo lesson, feel free to just pop them into the chat and we can get around to them. You could practice with a friend or practice in the mirror. Something really kind of, I suppose, that we've come across in the TEFL industry is it can be, it can be scary with your first interview, and you do need to show that you are confident and that you are capable of becoming a TEFL teacher. But something that's really important is the Superman pose, which will really give you confidence before an interview. It's kind of like, I suppose, a psychology element, if you want to look at it like that. But essentially, you have to stand in front of a mirror, you know, in your bathroom, in your bedroom, or something like that. Put your hands on your hips, and this is called the Superman pose. And basically, this is supposed to, you know, take a couple of deep breaths and center you before, you know, answering difficult questions and that sort of thing. Definitely, you know, prepare for your demo lesson, stay cool, calm and collected, do your Superman pose if you have to, and be prepared. Another thing, which I'm sure goes without saying, is to dress professionally and to look presentable. So you do not want to look like you've just rolled out of bed, even though this may be the case if you are working from home or planning to work from home. You know, it's nice to wear kind of professional clothing, maybe a blazer or something like that. But also, if you are going for a job that maybe isn't online, and if it's for, you know, a trip abroad or something like that, maybe take a minute to kind of look into, you know, what's deemed nice and professional in their country and their context. Shirts and blazers are kind of a safe bet, but, you know, no harm to take a look into as well. Know your technical stuff is a huge element to this, to any interview. Know your internet speed. If any of you have taken a look at any online TEFL jobs, the advertisements, you will notice that there's a couple of requirements that are often kind of across the board. And this would be your internet speed, your device specs, you know, the type of laptop that you're using, in detail, you know, if it's Mac iOS 9 or whatever. I'm not that tech savvy myself, but it is important to know those things, because various softwares and things and operating systems that you're using may not be compatible with their systems, and they may need to provide alternatives for you if you are successful in the interview. So know all of these elements. And with, you know, your TEFL interview, your job interview, it may be online, you may be on Skype or Zoom, maybe WhatsApp or Messenger or something like that. Log in a couple minutes beforehand for tech checks. Make sure that your mute button is working, your video on and off button is working. You know, another thing would be to kind of find a quiet room, keep your mobile phone out of your room, turn off your notifications on your laptop, you know, WhatsApp, emails, iMessage, you don't want those coming through on the screen, especially if you are sharing for a demo lesson and things like that. Dominica has just asked, what email do you use to get a sample CV? So what I'll do, Dominica, is I'll pop an email out to you after, just to follow up with some hints, tricks and tips. And feel free to reply to that email, and we can get you the help for any specific questions that you have, maybe about CVs and things. No worries. Again, you know, troubleshoot in advance, make sure that all your equipment is working, call, practice Zoom, practice Skype. You know, you don't want to answer a call pretending to be tech savvy, not knowing how to answer a call, you know, checking to make sure that they can hear you and that sort of thing. Have proper headset or headphones and a microphone set up. It looks professional. And yeah, make sure to ask follow-up questions at the end of your interview. You know, what are the next steps? When will you be in touch? Be proactive and forward thinking, and show them that you are interested in this position, and that that's your one end be all. Some maybe don'ts that I would recommend in terms of interviews would be, don't do it on your smartphone or your iPhone. Know your angles. We do live in kind of an Instagram world. You know, you don't want the camera under your chin, giving everyone kind of a view of your nostrils, you know. It doesn't necessarily have to be cinematic, but definitely, you know your angles in terms of the professional aspects. Don't have a lot of background noise, you know, barking dogs, children maybe doing it in a cafe or something like that. Have a quiet, kind of fairly blank background behind you, or, even create your own background. It looks really professional if you do. You could use Canva if you're tech savvy, or even use your phone to kind of crop and edit something out of it, like a black or a white background or something like that. It's always good. Maybe just pop your email address or your contact number and your Skype ID on it. It's really kind of something to look into. Another one would be, don't be in bed, on top of a bed, don't be lying down, don't be sprawled out on the sofa. You know, this kind of positioning will make it harder for you to talk and also to stay alert during an interview, especially if it's a long interview. Generally, you'll be, you know, around 20 to 30 minutes, but if it's longer than that, you know, you will get tired. Make sure you have a coffee or something ready, maybe a glass of water to kind of keep you alert and things. And do not blame the interview if you are having technical issues. Requests are rescheduled. You know, maybe ask to log off for a moment in a message, technical difficulties, and try again in 2 or 3 minutes. These things do happen. Everyone knows, you know, we've all worked remotely at this stage. There are challenges of working from home, so don't be too put out if something like this happens. Act professional. And this is kind of, if something does come up like this, it's the ability to show your problem solving skills, which of course is really attractive in any employee. Don't do your interview outdoors, you know, in a dark space or in like a public area. You know, have a space where you feel comfortable. And that will also demonstrate to your employer that you have the right kind of working from home environment if it is for an online TEFL job as well. Try to avoid any like music playing in the background, you know, turn off your notifications, keep your phone on silent. It can be hard to concentrate on what you were saying, you know, if you're keeping, you know, to keep your train of thought, if your emails and Skype are popping off every couple of seconds. I'm sure, as you've probably seen, that ringing bell is going off, and I'm sure it can be distracting as well. I am going to pass you off again to Jess in a second, who's going to tell you a little bit about finding employment and other advice. But firstly, I just want to mention kind of what kind of support the TEFL Institute can provide. You know, we do have the hard copy certificates if this was required for employment. We also, of course, have our recruitment team who are amazing at helping with any advice. Another thing that's extremely important that I will touch on in a moment is the virtual 10-hour teaching practicum. This is extremely important if you don't have any TEFL experience, so do stay tuned for that. And we do have kind of a nice surprise for you all for attending the webinar as well, so do stay tuned. You can also get some specialist training if you're looking to upscale, or if your employer has kind of a particular requirement as well. I do know there's a couple of questions coming in, so I'll get to those maybe in a couple of moments. But Jess, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah. Just I wanted to say as well, you were saying about having the questions at the end of an interview. I think that's really important. Even if you prepare questions in advance, I think it just really shows the employer that you really care and you know you're interested in the position. So I think that's super important as well. If they do ask you at the end of the interview, do you have any questions, to have maybe a couple of questions written down, I think it's a great tip as well. Guys, I'm just going to go through basically what's next. So after you get your TEFL cert, and how can you find your first TEFL job? So most important thing to note is that TEFL jobs go all year round. So there's a constant turnover of teachers, which is great. And it is normal to have fixed contracts or short-term contracts as well. So whatever period of the year suits you, I'm sure there'll be a TEFL position open. So what's next after you get TEFL trained? Step one would be to sit down and look at your goals. So for example, how much experience are you looking for? Is it going to be short-term or long-term? Are you hoping for a career in TEFL, or maybe just something for the summer? And then secondly, to decide where you're going to go. So is it going to be Europe? Is it going to be Asia, South America? This is important to think about as well. So also step 3 is finding out the type of job you'd like. So are you more interested in teaching adults or young learners? Do you want to be teaching general English or maybe English for special purposes? And then of course, the final step is to actually find the job. So once you've figured out your goals, the type of job and the destination you have 2 routes of finding employment. So one is, of course, teaching abroad, or else you could be teaching online, whether that's teaching online from your home or teaching online abroad. We have a great list of job websites. You can go and find some jobs, which we will send to you guys. Oh, I think Sarah just put in the chat there, did she? Yeah, thank you. So you can have a look. So when you know what kind of job you're looking for, you can put those keywords into the website and you'll be able to find the position you're looking for. Yes, and depending on what countries you'd like to go to, there are third-party companies for teaching in specific countries as well. You can apply for internships, which I think are great. I've done some before myself. It's a great way to build your CV, get experience as a first-time teacher if you need experience, and also just develop your confidence in the classroom. There's programs such as the JET program in Japan, so that's JET, the JET program. There's also Home to Home in Spain. And also, if you're interested, there is a language assistantships or assistant jobs where you need to contact the embassy of the country you're traveling to, and they might be able to have a position for you there. Also, just to quickly highlight that we do also run internships. At the moment, we have internships open for Thailand, Vietnam, Italy, and South Korea. So if you want to have a look at those as well, guys, it's great. If you have a specific country in mind, often searching, keywords TEFL job in China or TEFL job in France, then it'll generate a list of websites or agencies for a job in that country as well. So that's my advice, guys, for looking for a job. I'm going to hand you back to Sarah to quickly talk about the teaching practice.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks a million, Jess. So there have been a couple of questions come in. I know Dominique just asked there, if you don't have experience, what could you say to a question in your interview about teaching methods? So, if you haven't any teaching experience, it's no problem. A lot of, for example, an internship may be a really good opportunity for someone who doesn't have teaching experience, because they often are entry-level positions with various levels of support, both in the classroom. You may have another teacher with you for the first couple of weeks to kind of gauge your confidence and to learn as you go, which is often very helpful. A lot of us are kind of learn as you do people, so definitely. And if you don't have any teaching practice, I would recommend the 10-hour teaching practicum. It is a great kind of, I suppose, element in your TEFL training to be able to say that you've been assessed in the classroom environment in the same way, that a primary or a secondary school teacher will be able to say that they have a certain level of competency in the classroom. That's what we want to be able to provide to you as well. So you'll learn about those various teaching methods and the methodologies, classroom management, lesson planning, all of that in this course. So if that is something, and if you are thinking of maybe doing online teaching, or if you do have any particular location in mind, do get in touch and we can set you up with something. A lot of questions about sample CVs and that sort of thing. So we'll definitely get that out in an email to you guys after the webinar as well. John asks, is a TEFL reference letter sufficient, or do you need kind of prior employment or experience references when applying for jobs? So in my experience with applying for online teaching jobs, any sort of leadership, or as Jess said earlier, kind of coaching or that kind of experience that you've had previously will definitely stand to you in a TEFL job interview. That sort of experience is transferable across the board in general. As I said, if you don't have any experience, maybe a 10-hour teaching practicum or maybe an internship may be a good place to start. But absolutely, you don't necessarily need years and years of experience to be successful in a TEFL job interview. And yeah, great, no worries at all. So yeah, just I suppose to chat a little bit more about the teaching practice. It's a great way to kind of, I suppose, consider getting ready for 2022 and the recruitment seasons that are ahead, there are 2 main recruiting times for TEFL jobs generally. Now, they are year round, but the main kind of time where you will see a lot of recruitment agencies, LinkedIn job advertisements, various ESL boards as well, will be January and October, where you will see most of these advertisements come up. So they'll be looking for teaching practice, they'll be looking for some experience. The first question they'll ask in an interview or when you look in your CV is about your previous experience. So it was a great question, John, as well. If you have some transferable training from other industries, definitely pop it into your CV. It's always great to have. And a lot of TEFL teachers in general will actually come from other industries. Even your interviewer, who may be a director of studies at a language school, they may have come from a business background, a finance background. So they'll know if you, let's say, have, if you were a sales manager or the head of accounts, they'll know that you have that training beforehand. So definitely pop it in. In terms of teaching practice, then, this will be good for when you're writing your CV to make sure that's up to date. For your interview prep, mini demo lessons, applying for jobs, all of that comes into play here. TEFL jobs in general, I suppose, are kind of a longer process because it is on a global scale. So depending on where you're traveling to, if there's visa preparation, with online teaching, they may need to send out a curriculum to you, which generally will be in PDF form, but it could be also on paper, you never know. So that's really what this is all about, is about getting you prepped for that and kind of, I suppose, enjoying and getting started, really embarking on this journey. So generally after the 10-hour teaching practicum, which is 2 days over Zoom, it's 3.5 hours each day. You could do it at a weekend, a Saturday and Sunday in the morning time, generally kind of 9 to 1, or you could do it on a Wednesday and Thursday in the evening time if you are still working full time and kind of doing your TEFL search kind of when you can. That's absolutely no problem. It would be 5:30 until 9. And you'll be with your tutor. Day 1 is generally going through kind of the curriculum, teaching methodologies, lesson planning, classroom management, all of those elements. And then day 2 will be your teaching practice assessment from the tutor. So it does sound kind of daunting, but it's really not. It's fantastic. You're with a group of your fellow students, with your peers, and you're giving a short presentation demonstrating everything that you've learned, and you'll get some feedback from your tutor, and you'll gain another certificate, which is, fantastic, and you'll be able to show that to your employer as well. And after your 10-hour teaching practicum, and after you've completed your TEFL course, as I mentioned before, you can book in for a recruitment session. There's also some added bonuses in terms of the recruitment session. As we said before, you'll be advised on where to look for work abroad, where to look for work online. I know I sent in a couple of various websites there as well. And we can offer advice in terms of interviews, CVs, that sort of thing as well. Does anyone here kind of have any questions about the 10-hour course? Has anyone completed the course already?
Yeah, I have a question about the practicum.
Sure.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
So I completed the 120-hour TEFL course and the 30-hour online teaching course. So the 10-hour you said was a 2-day Zoom class, or not class, like a practicum. You said you could do it over the weekend typically?
Yeah, you can do it, in the evening times on a Wednesday and Thursday, or you could do it on, as I said, a Saturday and Sunday at the weekend, kind of morning time, kind of 9 to 1. That can vary, of course, depending on time zones and things like that. But absolutely, we can give you details on particular time zones if you need it.
Yeah, I would definitely. I don't really have teaching experience. I actually work for a bank, and we're looking to move to another country. And so my wife and son and I, so just wanted to kind of pursue this. And So anyway, the 10-hour practicum, just learning more about that in general would be very helpful.
Great. Yeah, no worries at all. I know I see a couple of questions coming in there. Rebecca has completed it as well. So and our colleague Emma has just popped in the link there as well. So the 10-hour teaching practicum, the cost of it is €99 at the moment. So it's a great deal. And actually with the follow-up email that we're going to send you, you're going to get a voucher for the last few dates in February that you can use. So feel free to avail of that. We can also do a recruitment call. I can get one of our course enrollment advisors to reach out, Thomas, as well, to kind of give you more specific information and to kind of run through, I suppose, the day and things with you. And we can definitely take it from there if you are interested in undertaking it. That's no problem at all. Rebecca has asked there some jobs advertised online and she hasn't applied because some say you need to be American, English or Canadian. Okay, interesting. Yeah, so some online employers may look for these as a requirement. That's simply for working permits and visas and things. Taxation can vary from country to country as well. Also a bachelor's degree may be needed. That's kind of, depending on the employer. If these kind of requirements are coming up again and again, do reach out to us. Myself, before I completed my bachelor's degree, and of course I'm here from Ireland, I'm an Irish native as well. I did some freelance online teaching. So essentially what this is you kind of sign up to an online freelance platform. Cambly is one, for example. So essentially I'll describe this as the Facebook for online TEFL teachers. And essentially you'll do a demo lesson, you'll kind of present yourself in video format, you'll detail your TEFL qualifications, the types of lessons that you'll be looking to teach, if it's IELTS preparation, TOEIC preparation, if you're interested in teaching young learners, there's also sites for that as well. So that's definitely something to take a look at too. There's a couple of other questions there too. Just about CVs again, which is great. And yeah, the cost of the 10-hour teaching practicum, which is $99 at the moment, but you'll get a voucher for that at the end, which is fantastic. Is anyone planning on going abroad to teach by any chance? Does anyone have any particular locations that they're looking at going into? Feel free to pop in your dream destination below and we can take a look. Spain.
I'm currently living in Poland at the minute, guys, and I worked for the last 2 years with Helen Doran, and they teach English, to young kids and say teenagers. And I did the TEFL course because I felt, I needed to improve. It was only a starting point for me, and the TEFL, it's changed everything for me, even, how I think I want to teach, absolutely everything. And I was hoping, you see, to get into the online, and the problem was I lost internet there, guys, so I'm sorry. So I didn't hear a lot of what you said a few minutes ago. So I'm so sorry, I had to log on my computer. But it's just like I said, I try to look online, and I keep getting, deterred from doing it because I say, okay, you have to be English, American, Canadian, you need a bachelor's degree, and it's like a minefield at the minute. So even, I'm sorry I missed it, but even if you have to give me a small little information on an email, I'd love it.
Sure, that's no bother at all. No, we just kind of went through there, kind of how I started out with online teaching. Before, I didn't have a bachelor's degree at the time, and of course I'm an Irish passport holder as well, so I totally get that. So I did kind of freelance platform work.
Yeah.
I can definitely run through that with you, Rebecca. That's no problem. I can, give you a call, or we can arrange a time if you just want to pop me an email. I'll pop email in a message to you there.
Thanks a million.
No worries at all, no problem. Loads of lovely locations there: Spain, France, Canada, Thailand, Italy, Albania, Portugal, Vietnam, Portugal, Spain, Italy, Japan is another one. Fantastic. I mean, we do have some amazing internships that Jess was kind of chatting about. France as well is amazing. We have some jobs there. I don't know, Jess, if you want to run through maybe some of the internships that we have at the moment. I know you kind of mentioned them earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. So at the moment we have open Thailand, Vietnam, South Korea for Asia, and then in Europe we have Italy at the moment. So it depends if you're interested in Asia or Europe. I think it's great. Also depends, are you looking for a longer term or shorter term? So Thailand at the moment is 4.5 months. So that's a great option if you're kind of looking for a shorter teaching position. Then maybe if you're looking for something longer, maybe a year, South Korea is also a great option. Italy, we have 2 intakes usually. So September would be 9 months, and then in January it would be 6 months. So we have really great options depending on what you're looking for.
Absolutely. And just to mention, guys, we do actually only have 1 position left for it
Yeah.
in September. So if September time is something that you're looking to go towards, start your new schooling year fresh, definitely, you don't want to miss that one. Thailand also will be closing very, very soon for the next intake. So definitely do get in touch. But yeah, I don't want to keep up all of your evening, guys. So thank you so much for getting in touch. I have all of your queries. And, if you can maybe get in touch, send us an email. I'll pop the emails here. And we'd love to kind of chat in the recruitment side of things as well. And we can take it from there, guys. So thanks a million for tuning in, and hope you all have a lovely evening, and hopefully speak to you all soon. Take care.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.